This is Charlie Hopkins. My Alcatraz number is 1186. I was on Alcatraz 1955, 1956, 1957, and part of 1958. That Harvey guy, I didn't know he was as crazy as he was until I read a book about him. You know, when you talk to him, you wouldn't think he was that type of a person. That's why I tell you, you got to be careful dealing with people, because you never know, you know. I knew nothing about Harvey until I read books about him here lately. You know, hell, I worked with a guy every day, talked to him. I had no idea he was the type of person that he was. Yeah, if you talked to him, you wouldn't have thought he was that type of person. That's what I've tried to tell girlfriends of mine, you know, to be careful dealing with guys. I say, 'cause they can be evil as hell, and they'll act like the nicest guy you ever met. I said, and then when they get you in a position where you ain't got nobody to help you, I said, then they become the person they are, you know. I said, so you really be careful dealing with people that you don't know anything about. Yeah, they can act like the nicest person in the world and be a cold-blooded evil person.
So I know you're good friends with Robert Stroud, and, you know, people say he was like that. You know, he killed people. The switch would flip, and then he would, you know, go crazy and stuff. But that's not what, or is it?
No, he didn't kill nobody for nothing. That guy that he killed in Alaska, that guy beat his girlfriend up. He had a girl. He was a young guy then, and he had a good-looking girlfriend that was a bar girl. She worked in bars, and she supported him. And this guy beat her up. This bar punk beat her up. So Stroud killed him, and he got 20 years for that.
You think he meant to kill him, Charlie? You think he meant to kill him, or he?
Hey, yeah, he meant to kill him, because he beat his girlfriend up, and he meant to kill his ass. Yeah. So they sent him to McNeil Island, gave him 20 years, I think. Sent him to McNeil Island, and he stabbed another guy there. You know, some inmate gave him some bullshit, so he stabbed his ass. So they sent him to Leavenworth. Well, he told me and Morton Sobel, that atomic spy, they hung out together. They liked each other because both of them were smart people, you know. Well, I used to sit on the yard in Springfield and talk with him and Sobel, and he told me and Sobel one day sitting in the grass, he said that his mother was coming to visit him that weekend and said he got put on report. Well, back then, if you was on report, you couldn't have a visit. And he said that when he was in the dining room eating lunch, the guard that had put him on report was in there, you know, and he held his hand up, and the guard motioned for him to get up. So he got up and said, I walked over to him, and I told him that my mother had traveled a long ways. She come from Alaska to visit him. And he'd appreciate if he'd hold that shot up. That's what they call it, a shot, until he saw his mother that weekend. And he said, the guard said, you son of a bitch, said, I thought you had to use the restroom. And they carried billy sticks in, and said he pulled his billy stick out. He said, I grabbed his wrist. And this is something now that people didn't know. The inmates that lied about what they saw, said they saw him stabbing him with his right hand. The Birdman was left-handed. He said he grabbed the wrist with the billy stick and said the guy was bigger than he was. And he said, I'm kind of leaning down and he's pressing down on me. And so I got my knife out from under my belt and said I come straight up with it. And he said that caught him dead in the heart, 'cause the guard's leaning over a little, and it caught him straight in the middle of his heart, split his damn heart wide open. So he didn't have a chance, you know. And he said some of the inmates lied about what they saw, said that they watched him kill him. They was trying to get, you know, in good so they'd make parole or something like that, you know. So they lied about, they didn't even see how he actually did stab him, because he said, I stabbed him with my left hand. He said, they're saying I did it with my right hand, you know. Wow. But he sat there in the grass and told me, and Morton Sobel, I wish Sobel was still alive. He could tell you that the Birdman wasn't the type of person that, well, a lot of these people that claim they knew him, they didn't know him, you know. Even ones that might have been in Springfield, they might have saw him, but that don't mean they talked to him and know him, and he trusted them enough to tell them anything. But the ones in the other prisons, they didn't have no access to him. On Alcatraz, when you walk down the corridor that goes into the hospital wing, there's utility rooms on each side, big utility rooms. And one of those utility rooms, they turned into a cell for the Birdman. When he told the warden he wanted to stay up there. See, the way he got up there to start with was at the end when Marines was throwing hanging aids in the DVOT. They were shooting hanging aids in there with damn rifles, and it done a lot of damage. Well, they had repaired that damage when it was over. Joe Connors told me that when they was putting wicker wire on the bars in DVOT, they was also putting wicker wire over the gun cage in D-Block so nobody could get in and spread the bars again. And while they're making them repairs, they doing a lot of drilling and making a lot of noise. And it got on the Birdman's nerves, so he was yelling and cussing at them, calling them all kind of dirty names. And the warden moved him up to the hospital until they could get through with the repairs. And when they got through with the repairs and was ready to move him back, he told the warden that he would rather stay in the hospital. He said, I like the peace and quiet up here. So the warden let him stay. But all he had in that, it was a big utility room, and all he had was a bed and a sink with water. He didn't have no toilet. But in the summer of 1956, they remodeled the shower room, and they used to have like 6 or 8 private showers from the Army days that had black marble walls around them that gave you a little bit of privacy. Well, they tore all of that out and made it part of the big shower room that you see now. All you got now is one big shower room. Those private showers are gone. Well, when they got through with that, they went up to the hospital and they tore out the 3 bug cages, and they built a big room with tile walls and tile floor, real nice, clean, you know. And the 3 bug cages are gone now. And while they was doing that, they put a toilet in the Birdman's room. So up until then, though, he didn't have a toilet. All he had was a bucket. And the inmate orderly would dump that bucket for him. You didn't have no access to the Birdman then. Now, the orderly that worked in the hospital, he could talk to him all he wanted to. But other than that, if you was going to the hospital up there, you walk down the corridor past his room, there's a guard with you, and you keep moving. You can't stop, you know. They would leave his solid door open, you know, during the day, and even at night, as far as I know. But I've heard him talking to the guard at night, And I don't know if they closed his door at night or not, but I know it was left open. And the guys that claimed that they talked to him, they didn't have access to him. The orderly did, yeah, if he worked in the hospital. But even the guards didn't have access unless they worked in the hospital. If they were assigned to the hospital, then yeah, they dealt with him. But other than that, they wouldn't see him. I used to trade magazines with the Birdman. He had ordered Newsweek and Time. He read those kind of magazines, so did I. I liked them kind. And he would send them to me when he got through reading them, you know. And he'd have the inmate orderly, you know, bring them to me in the hospital ward. And he would write in the margins letters to the editor. He doesn't like stupid people, and I don't either. But stupid people would make him mad, and he would read one of them stupid letters that somebody wrote to the editor, and then he would write his opinion of the letter writer in the margins and send them to me. And when me and Whitey Bulger was corresponding, I told Whitey Whitey would write in the margins too. And I told him, I said, you're doing the same thing the Birdman did. I said, he used to write in the margins of the magazines that we would swap back and forth.